How do I forward declare a function to avoid name errors for functions defined later? Is it possible to forward declare a function in Python? I want to sort a list using my own CMP function before it is declared. I've put the definition of CMP_configs method after the invocation. It fails with this error. Is there any way to declare CMP_configs method before it's used? Sometimes, it is difficult to reorganize code to avoid this problem. For instance, when implementing some forms of recursion. Where end_condition and end_result have been previously defined, is the only solution to reorganize the code and always put definitions before invocations?
If you don't want to define a function before it's used, and defining it afterwards is impossible, what about defining it in some other module? Technically, you still define it first, but it's clean. You could create a recursion like the following. Python's functions are anonymous just like values are anonymous, yet they can be bound to a name. In the above code, foo does not call a function with the name foo. It calls a function that happens to be bound to the name foo at the point the call is made. It is possible to redefine foo somewhere else, and bar would then call the new function. Your problem cannot be solved because it's like asking to get a variable which has not been declared.
Wrap the invocation into a function of its own so that will break, but will work properly. The general rule in Python is that a function should be defined before its usage, which does not necessarily mean it needs to be higher in the code.
If you kickstart your script through the following, then you probably do not have to worry about things like forward declaration. You see, the interpreter would go loading up all your functions and then start your main function. Of course, make sure you have all the imports correct to smile. Come to think of it, I've never heard such a thing as forward declaration in Python. But then again, I might be wrong, smile.
I apologize for reviving this thread, but there was a strategy not discussed here which may be applicable. Using reflection, it is possible to do something akin to forward declaration. For instance, let's say you have a section of code that looks like this. So in this way we have determined what function we want to call before it is actually defined, effectively a forward declaration. In Python, the statement globals function_name is the same as foo if function_name equals foo for the reasons discussed above, since Python must look up each function before calling it. If one were to use the timeit module to see how these two statements compare, they have the exact same computational cost. Of course, the example here is very useless, but if one were to have a complex structure which needed to execute a function, but must be declared before, or structurally it makes little sense to have it afterwards, one can just store a string and try to call the function later.
If you want to see more, please consider subscribing.